Give me the tea. What's the drama? What's happening in your life? I want to know.
Hey y'all, so I'm gonna be doing a story time on why I went to rehab and what rehab I went to. I am Liz, an 18-year-old teen mom. I already have my first daughter and I have a second baby on the way, if you didn't know. Okay, so basically the reason why I went to rehab was it all started my daughter's birthday party. So my daughter had her 1-year-old birthday party at my house, and the party started off super good, and it was like super chill and everything like that. And later on that night we ended up getting, some alcohol for the party, and everything was going pretty good. And I guess I ended up drinking maybe a little bit too much. And I never really talk about like my past or anything like that, and I've gone through lots of stuff, and I've never really brought it onto social media as well. And that night I had a little bit too much, and I ended up stepping out with one of my friends. And from this point, I honestly don't remember. So what I'm about to tell y'all is from like what I've heard that happened. So what I've heard that happened is that one of my uncles was here, like my real blood uncle was here at the party, and I was in the kitchen, well, like, yeah, in the kitchen area where we were like all eating and drinking and stuff like that. And at one point, I'm basically telling him like I'm like an angel. I'm basically telling him like I'm an angel child. I've never like done anything, that this and that. And then apparently like the next second, like a switch turns in me, and I basically end up telling him how my real mom never really took care of me, how like all the things that I've gone through, that none of the family stepped up, that they like put me through so many things as a young child, that I basically had to be my own adult and take care of myself and fend for myself and my little sister. I basically had a really hard childhood growing up, and I basically ended up like putting it all on him, even though he had nothing to do with it. But in a way, like I was telling him like, you could have did something but you didn't, you just sat there and let it happen, as my uncle. And I said, like, he started crying and his wife started crying as well. And I basically was just telling him like, I something had happened when I was 8 years old, and it was his brother. I ended up basically telling on one of my other uncles, and he went to prison. And my whole family had basically like turned on me because they thought I was lying, and that that I was lying and trying to get him in trouble and stuff like that. But obviously there was detective proof, and like there was proof basically. And basically like I thought like growing up that my whole family like hated me, but they really didn't. I guess they ended up finding out like I think like a year later, a few months later, like the truth. And but I like never knew that they knew the truth after a while. um so basically I was just telling him a whole bunch of stuff of like how shitty my life was growing up, and like that I didn't deserve that, and that my mom was never there, that she was going on with other guys, that she was always working, that her kids, that she just didn't care about her kids, that she would just leave, we would never know when she would leave, that basically I had no mother to look up to, um and I guess that triggered something in me. And I ended up going outside with my friend, and I guess I was going out there to hit the pin. And I guess my mom had told my baby daddy Brian to go out there to stop me or something like that. And I guess they just heard like screaming from inside, so they all came running outside. And apparently I had ran down the street to the stop sign, like very very like wobbly, very like stumbling, very very just dumb, running down to the stop sign. Like that's as far as I got. I could barely even walk, and I ended up falling like 3 times and hit my head on the concrete. um and I ended up yelling somebody's name, um to my dad, my homeboy and my baby daddy, like telling them to get away from me, telling them not to touch me, telling them to get away from me, that only like my boyfriend and could touch me and stuff like that, or like help me or something like that. I was basically like telling them like get away. I was posting up to my dad, my baby daddy, and my homeboy, trying to fight them. My dad said that I threw swings at him, that I slapped my mom. I don't remember any of this. This is just what they've told me. And apparently that same day I had, whenever I was like screaming the name, I was saying like, you were supposed to protect me. You're doing the same thing that they did to me. Why? And I just kept yelling the name. And the only people that knew like that name was my parents. So my parents started crying because they had already suspected like that this person had did something to me. I just always denied it because they are a family member. And basically I ended up waking up at like 6 in the morning and chugging like the rest of the Fireball that we had. I don't remember that. I guess I ended up chugging the rest of the Fireball, and then my mom ended up waking me up at 4 p.m. and my baby daddy was still here, and I look at him and I'm like, why are you still here? Like, in a way, I'm like, I thought you had a privada to go to. I'm like, why are you still here? And he just kind of like went to get my mom, and she kind of explained everything to me, and I just started like bawling my eyes out because like I basically like came out on things that I had held in for so long, because I just didn't want anybody to know. Like, I still have held in so many things that like nobody knows, and like it like hurt me a lot for like me to know that they know. And she asked me like if I'm willing to go to rehab, and I've always said no to that. I've always been like, no, like no, 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 no. But that day, like, I realized like, hey, like, you need help. Like, you're letting like the traumatic things that have happened to you control the way like that you're living, and like not trying to think about it. You're basically like killing yourself by putting things into your body just to forget about the things that you've gone through, or not to think about it, or to move on. And I like to look at it as like it doesn't bother me or nothing like that, because I mean, in reality, like, if I'm thinking about it right now, it doesn't bother me. But what I didn't realize was that lots of the things that have happened to me are brought up a lot into like my life now, in like ways that I don't even realize it. And there's also things that I don't remember of my past life, that were very traumatic, that I don't even know hurt me, that like makes me act a certain type of way now in my life, which is like a thing that I'm working on, which I do go to IOP. I am doing therapy. And the therapy that I'm doing is trauma work, and I am going to be doing EMDR, which is where like they help you like not memorize, but like remember that moment specifically, and also help you forget it, to like whenever you think about it, like it's not like a bad memory, which even if it is like a bad memory, it's not gonna affect you in a way that it would have affected you like before. And I ended up going to rehab for 35 days. My first 3 weeks there were very hard. I tried the AMA. AMA is like against medical advice. Trying to leave, and I ended up not leaving because my parents were like, they're not picking me up, and it was 4 hours away. But after the 3 weeks, I was okay. I only had 2 more weeks left, and I started like kind of opening up. I didn't really open up there. I had like the whole time with my therapist, I was just kind of like back and forth. And at the very end, I kind of like did open up a little bit because I related a lot to her and a lot of things. She kind of like mirror herself towards me, and I feel like I get along more with my therapist whenever I can actually relate to them. But yeah, that's my rehab story. Thank y'all for listening.